Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to quickly move on to our next session, which is the self-assessment health check. And it's an absolute pleasure to introduce and invite on stage Mr. Pratik Shah, Director, Business Consulting, Performance Improvement, Ernst and Young LLP. And I request him to kindly take the session forward.
Hope I'm audible. I think so. It's quite working well. First of all, I would like to thank FADA, Pradeep ji, Vinkesh ji, Manish ji for calling me here. I remember doing a similar session at the Auto Expo and the kind of response I got. And I think the response that I see today is almost 4 times the response that we had at the Auto Expo. So really kudos to the fantastic work that FADA team is doing. I think we are running short of time, so I'm just going to try and expedite and just focus on the key messages that I want to give. I think in the earlier session led by Arun and an esteemed panel, one thing that clearly came out was how can we take control of our own destiny? How can we, rely less and less on the external factors around us? And how can we really drive our own growth? That is going to be the agenda for my session today. And one thing I can really tell with confidence that I'm going to focus on money and customer experience. But eventually, that really helps us make money. Everyone here in the room sitting is actually here to make money and grow their business at the end of the day. That's the key reality. Before we move on, I would just request, I would like to just hear from the audience as well a little before we move forward. I'm just going to run a small poll. The second one, yeah. I would like you to go on www.menti.com quickly on your mobile phones. And there is a code which is written 56423529. And a very interesting question that I have for all of you is, if you could have one of these superpowers, which one would you choose? And the options are going to be quite tricky and interesting. The first one being, I hope you're able to log in. The first one being get rid of Excel sheets. And this is really meant for our dealer community. The second option being getting unlimited supply of vehicles or getting the vehicles of choice only, right? The third being having no co-dealer in my territory. Fourth being, and please start submitting your responses so the chart is live. So the more and more responses we'll get, the more and more, updations we'll have. Next being making 100% margin on all the products and services that I'm selling today. Looks quite exciting to hear, but let's see how difficult it is. The next being having permanent manpower without really having issues with respect to manpower. The last one being able to read the mind of our customers. Because customers today are so unpredictable. Today they might say, I'm going to give you a check, give me another 5,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 worth of discount. And tomorrow when you are calling him, he is not picking up your phone, right? So that's great. I think the last one is the one that is taking a lead, reading customers' mind. So definitely, that is definitely one of the biggest challenge today for all of us. Why I wanted to bring this, slide is, we all know that you can never read your customer's mind, and that's why all of us are trying to seek this superpower. And a lot of our business depends on customer. We spoke about Meta in the morning and how customer behavior is changing. Digital is really fueling a lot of that change in behavior. So here we are really occupied with so many challenges, be it at the customer end, be it at, from an inventory perspective, be it from the number of Excel sheets your entire staff is handling day in and out, or be it the issues that you're facing with respect to your manpower, right? Within all of this, as a dealer principal, as a dealer owner, your objective is how much money I was able to make in my business in this month, in this quarter, in this year, right? And the focus really shifts from there, and we end up firefighting quite a lot, right? I hope you'll agree with me. And what I'm trying to gonna help you today is at least give you some framework which you can try and deploy in your business starting maybe tomorrow or from Monday, hoping that you'll give some time off and see what you can really do with this framework going forward as such. I would request you to please shift back to the presentation. Wow, 25 responses, not bad. Moving to the, you can put in the presentation mode. So I think we all heard about a lot of internal challenges as well as a lot of external challenges. We talked about agency model. We talked about new innovative network formats. We spoke about startups. How startups, I mean, people who are not even related to the industry are trying to come and eat into, or rather facilitating the way we are doing our business, as well as rising competition with regulations, as well as the shift to electrification, which is also going to have far-reaching impact on the entire dealership model. Having said that, how relevant dealerships are going to be in the future? I think there were some discussions which happened in the earlier session with the shift to online. Do really dealers remain relevant? So EY had conducted a survey called as Mobility Consumer Index. The survey we run across 18 countries worldwide and every quarter. These are the results for India. What the real takeaways from the survey are: 74% of the consumers today try to do the information search online, right? Having said that, they still prefer visiting a car dealership to experience the vehicle, to see the vehicle, and they would still like to visit dealerships to come and negotiate the price of the vehicle, or at least talk to a salesperson to come and negotiate the price of the vehicle. So, and even if you look at their preference for getting their car serviced, or their preference for really buying even a used car, used or a used vehicle, that is also something they would like to do through an authorized dealership, not really from an unorganized broker as such. So these are the few key takeaways from our survey. While today we are living in an online and offline world, tomorrow we are going to live in an omni-channel world, wherein we need to really track the customer's journey online as well as offline, and really address his requirements at a particular point in time of the journey as such. So what do we need to do today? So essentially, if you look at three main pillars of driving a dealership business, the way we look at it is you need to think about today. At the same time, you need to think about the future as well. This is something which will help you understand that how am I going to approach my business? How am I going to look at planning my business? Right from, am I conducting some workshop within my team to really reflect on what happened last year, to reflect on what I want to achieve next year, and what are those 4 or 5 top strategic initiatives I want to take to really achieve those goals. How am I going to do budgeting? Budgeting, while appears quite superficial for a lot of us, but that really helps you work within constraints. Or what happens is every month your marketing manager comes, asks for money. Everyone, that HR comes and says, okay, I want more incentives. Or the sales head will come and say, I want to give more incentives to my team. But if you don't work within budgets, and you don't tell that this is the budget you have to work with, they will just run out of money even before the year ends as such. So these are all planning levers you need to keep in mind, and continuously course correct, and also review in terms of what was planned and where are we in terms of actuals. Talking about revenue or income drivers, essentially, it's not only about making money from sales. I think a lot of us know can make money through value-added services. We can make money from exchanges, referrals. We can make money from incentives, new services. I'll talk about it in the next slide. I think one thing which we really miss out on is a view of how much money I'm making from my customer base. I have a view of my transactions, but I really don't have a view that if I have sold 10,000 vehicles in the last 5 years or 7 years, how much money I'm making from those 10,000 people. I made money when I sold the vehicle, but today, where is the customer? Has he come back to me to buy another vehicle? Is he coming back to me for servicing the vehicle? Do I have a customer 360 which can help me track do I have a customer 360 or an aggregation of data which can really help me track from this customer I actually have made close to 10 lakhs over the life cycle, but there is another customer from whom I've just made money by selling a vehicle and nothing else, right? So having access to the customer data, making sense of that customer data, and getting money is very important. So how can you shift from a product-centric perspective or a service-centric perspective to having a customer centricity while looking at your profitability or revenue is very important. Talking about costs, I mean, we never really advocate reducing costs because no one has become big by reducing cost as such. What best you can do is how can you bring in more efficiencies in your operations, be it working capital, be it your manpower costs, or be it your marketing, which are really the big elements of cost. And essentially, how can you continue and build a cost-conscious culture within the dealership who really have targeted as well as they understand that how much money they are making for their own business unit. So that is very important as far as cost and productivity drivers are concerned. So this is something that you need to do today. I'm sure a lot of you are doing, but how can you actually break it up? How can you structure it? And how can you take it forward is something that I wanted to focus on. We spoke about future of mobility just now in our earlier session. And it's going to be massive. It's going to be really disruptive as well. The moment a person is traveling by Ola 10 times a month or 15 times a month, actually there is a loss of sale that has happened as far as a vehicle sale is concerned, right? Having said that, as a dealership, I can always from being an automotive dealership, I can always be a mobility solutions provider. I don't have to restrict myself just to sell cars or service vehicles or just to sell parts. You also need to think, also need to be abreast about what are the trends that are surrounding us. What are the new things that you're hearing? Has anyone of you heard what is micro-mobility? Anyone in the audience? Yeah. Micro-mobility is going to be one of the biggest trends in the future. This has already taken a much advanced stage as far as the developed economies are concerned. This is essentially our mobility options which help you travel distance of less than 5 kilometers. And there are custom solutions that are being developed to travel that distance. This will definitely replace, maybe sale of two-wheelers, high CC two-wheelers. This might replace sale of also, entry-level four-wheelers, right? So these trends you need to be abreast with, you need to keep in mind, and also see how can you be part of that trend. So that is very important. So you need to think about today, and this is how you need to start thinking about your future as well, in terms of where automotive is shifting towards mobility. Here, people really just want to move from point A to point B. They really don't care about whether I'm, doing that movement in my own vehicle, whether I'm doing it on a vehicle which I have, bought on a rent or subscribe to it. They don't really care whether it is being driven by another driver and that vehicle is owned by somebody else. So that is a trend which is definitely catching up. Having said that, it doesn't downplay the potential we have as far as new and vehicles getting sold as such. Having said that, it's still important you have a view of what is going to happen in the future. So these are, in summary, I'll try and touch upon, but I think what I would like to touch upon is how do you assess the effectiveness and efficiency of your own operations? What is the framework you need to adopt? Essentially, the way we look at it is there are two types of functions which are there in your dealership. One is in the functions which are customer facing, and here is where there is a lot of attention of not only you but also of the OEM in terms of how you are delivering CX or how you are driving customer engagement. And there is a layer of non-customer facing functions which are really supporting the front-end customer facing functions as such. For every function that you have in your business, essentially there are 4 ways of evaluating that particular function, right? The first one being the process. Is there a set process that the OEM has recommended, or maybe you have installed a process? How efficiently that process is being adhered to, and or is it being done just for the sake of doing it? The second being tools and technology. We have a lot of CRM systems, we have a lot of DMS systems, a lot of investment is being made. You are also paying a lot to avail those particular systems. A lot of times we really undermine the benefit that these tools and technology are going to give us. And that's where it's important that to make sure you are using the right tools and technology that are being given, because tomorrow the importance of data is just going to increase manifold. It has already increased, it's just going to increase and go exponentially high, right? The third, another important element is organization and people. A lot of times what happens is we don't have the right structure and we expect a lot of things from our people. So you need to make sure that do you have adequate manpower, do you have the right manpower, and do you have the most productive manpower that you can at best get. So for each function you need to make sure, if I'm talking about a CRM function, have you actually evaluated, do I have the right number of CREs in my team? Do I have right number of CRM manager? Do I need a separate CRM manager for sales and after sales? Otherwise, what happens is we just talk about complaints are increasing. We just talk about customers are not happy, but we are not attacking the root cause that is really driving these complaints. And the last and the most important one being metrics and measurement. As I think someone said in the morning, you can't improve what you cannot measure. And there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of dashboards, a lot of solutions which are available in the market today which you need to leverage. And that's where tools and technology and metrics and measurement go hand in hand. If you are able to automate even 10 to 20% of your data operator's job or an MIS person's job, you'll be able to free up his capacity to really think and make insights of that data rather than spending time in collating that data, right? That's where metrics and measurement really come to play. This is how you need to really go back and see how each of your function is operating, how each of your business area is operating as such. And key objective being that I want to get the most amount of productivity, I want to get most amount of employee engagement as well as customer delight by doing this. I'll not get into details of this given that we are a little short on time. But just in terms of KPIs, what are the KPIs the dealer principal is supposed to review? What are the KPIs the business head is supposed to review? What are the KPIs the sales head is supposed to review? It's very important that you have that clearly laid down, and that's where accountability gets fixed. I was talking to one OEM essentially wherein a lot of times what we do with KPIs, it's a post-mortem exercise that we do. The month has gone by and then we sit and then review how much did we achieve, how much did we make. But it's really important that you start measuring these KPIs on a daily basis and also build in some mechanism to have early warning signals wherein there is some red flag which is popped up. For example, if my target for the month is to generate 1,000 inquiries, and by 15th of the month, if I'm still sitting on 200 inquiries, and if your KPI measurement mechanism is not showing that red flag, that means somewhere you are really not making use of that data, right? So it's important that you have the right KPIs laid at the right level. Also, another thing which is really gaining importance is the importance of finance, because a lot of times we look at the finance function as a function just to, acting as a custodian of my money and nothing beyond that. But you really need to invest in your finance function because they are going to be your business partners. They are going to really tell you from where the money is coming and where the money is going out and how much money we really need to make. So it's important that we invest in this function, really look at this function quite strategically and give importance to the finance function as well, because a lot of it really depends on them, and don't just look at them as custodians or people who are responsible for compliance as such. This is my last slide, and when obviously this is just the start of the journey, doing the health check, because once you do that, it's important that you come up with a list of actionables which are practically implementable, which are implemented and are also sustained, because sustainability becomes very important. So it's important that you drive the discussion from the top, because that's where a lot of buy-in is required. Really build a conscious culture of change, drive those change management sessions, because it's very difficult to change the way someone works. I think Nalin also mentioned about professionalization, corporatization. This really starts here. If you want to really give that view to your staff that this is how we want to work and really help them with best practices, that's where a lot of impact will come. And obviously alignment And I think the point number 3, implement quick win initiatives. One thing that I've really learned with whatever experience I've had with transforming dealerships or helping them change is quick wins are very important to create trust within your team as well as for yourself. So it's always like, you need to think big, you need to probably start small, and you need to act fast. So the moment you start getting quick wins, you start building trust in what you are doing, and that will help you steer the next level of initiatives as such. So I think with that, I would like to close my session. And if there are any questions, I would be happy to take those. And also would like to have any discussions with you during the day if required. Thank you. Any questions or? Okay.
With this, we'd like to thank Mr. Shah for such a vivid idea and for being so insightful about the self-assessment health check. And to felicitate him on the stage right now, can we please have Mr. Bimalendu Mahanti? I request Mr. Bimalendu Mahanti to kindly join us on the stage to felicitate Mr. Pratik Shah. I'll request all of you to please welcome Mr. Mahanti and thank Mr. Shah with a huge round of applause.